with the way that the business is now
Mm.
and the way that like how everything went beforehand, do you feel like a company and like if you could have like booked yourself now,
Mm.
like from how the heat that you did sort of get outrage you did get earlier in the year,
Mm. Mm.
do you think if you use that and you could have booked that into an intergender storyline and it could have told a story?
Yeah, I was interested to do that, but all the marks got worked instead. Oh well.
But is that something that you would still be willing to do, to go in and do a feud and to go down that, like, let's knock down that fourth wall for a minute? You know?
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I think that I am a more than competent and capable professional wrestler, and I like to push myself. When they asked me to do the Iron Man match, for instance, I said, "Yeah, fuck." I didn't even think about it. I was like, "Yeah, let's do it. Let's have a go." Um, I'm not going to turn anything down because to me, if I can find things that are outside of what I would normally do, I'm at the point where, man, I've done so much of the same shit that if I can do something new, if I can try something new, if I can find a new challenge and then pull it off, like, yeah, 100%. Like I don't shy away from anything if I can see it making sense and if I can see it being engaging, if I can see it getting some heat, if I can see it getting some interest and selling some tickets, yeah, absolutely. I'll
Do you
fight
have
any one of you ladies out there.
do you have a particular wrestler that you would like to have do this feud with? Like, if I had to a gun to your head now and said you had to pick one woman in Australian wrestling or female presenting person in Australian wrestling to wrestle or have a feud with, who would you choose?
How did you come back to this conversation, Piers?
I don't know. Just because
Piers wants those clicks, brother. Piers wants to upset some people, so they go fucking Tyson, and then they'll click.
No, bro. It's not about upsetting people, bro. You've just turned around and said that you would do it. Where the podcast before you said, no, I don't really want to do that. But now you're saying you would.
No. Look, I think that a lot of what was misunderstood about what I said was it wasn't that I ruled it out. It wasn't that I said it should never ever happen. Put a pin in that because I've got something to say about that. But it has to make sense. It has to be worth doing. You have to set it up right. You don't just treat it like any old other fucking match. You do it right.
Love you, Dylan.
People don't have the patience to do shit right. People don't have the understanding to do shit right and making it make sense. Mind you. So remember when I said, maybe some people don't, no one remembers what I fucking said. But I said something to the effect of, do you need to be putting intergender violence in front of families, women, children, families, all of that? And I didn't think it was a good idea. I thought that you could get to a point where maybe you'll upset some people. And you know what? Not so long ago, there was a show where a man put his hands on a woman. There was a physical altercation between a male and a female on a show. And then I knew people in the crowd sitting there.
Yeah.
People got up and fucking left, man. People had no interest. People did not want their children seeing that. So if you're going to do it, you better do it fucking perfect. Otherwise, you have a good chance of alienating a sector of your crowd and giving yourself a bad name. Like, I don't think you're going to be able to convince any of those people that decided to leave on the night to buy a ticket to a wrestling show again.
I think like it's definitely something that, like, as a parent, you know, like, would I let my kids watch wrestling? Yes. Would I let my daughter watch women wrestling men? No, because it's like a man punching a woman in the face. I don't want my little girl to see that and think that it's okay for him. Like, even, she's too young to comprehend that the business is a work, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Same with my son. Like, I wouldn't let him watch my elder son or my younger son. It's the same thing. It's like their brains aren't formed enough to understand what wrestling really is.
And that's why you have to do it right. That's why you have to do it fucking right and build it right. And like, if I honestly think that if you are working an intergender match and a guy punches a chick in the head, you're not fucking working the match correctly. Like, you use that becomes a tool in the match. That becomes something that you can build to, something you can take away, something that you can if you have to do it, make it worthwhile. Because, like you said, man, there's a lot of people that don't want that shit in front of their kids. Whether you like it or not, kids are a fairly large sector of our crowd.
But look, in saying that, I can still sit down and watch and can watch a man wrestling a woman, and if they're both good workers, I can enjoy the match. From like, you know what I mean? I can sit there and get into it, and I'm go, okay, this is cool. You know what I mean? But it's like anything. Bad wrestling's bad wrestling. Good wrestling's good wrestling.
That's it.
You know what I mean? Like that's what I can sort of sit down and appreciate of it.
Yeah.
But like I said, I also wouldn't let my daughter and my boys watch Pulp Fiction either. You know what I mean? So like,
I guess that's the thing. Like you say, you're bringing it back to that point. Like you want to make it as broad as possible and make it appeal to as many people as possible. So you have to have that in mind if you're going to do this stuff. Like,
but it's knowing your audience.
Way.
It's knowing your audience as well, and knowing what is going to appeal to them and what's going to turn them away as well.
So, who would you pick?
Match wrestling.
Would I pick to have a?
Yeah.
Who? Are you asking me or are you asking him?
The room.
Okay.
People in the chat. Who should be the lady to take Tyson Gibbs down a peg? Comment below. You guys, what do you think? Who would you pick?
To peg. Okay.
Don't make a peg joke there, all right? All right. All right.
Okay.
Can we keep it
all right
out of the gutter for now? My God. You've been so immature.
I would narrow it down to a couple, but I would say Jessica Troy. Or Flame, because I reckon Flame and you could tell a good story, but I reckon Jess Troy, and you would have like an absolute banger of a series of matches, to be honest.
You can't say that, Pierce.
Why?
You can't say that. You can't say banger. It doesn't work. In this society, you can't say it. No.
Oh, I don't mean it like that, Rob. Like, I mean, no, you know what I mean? Like,
the peg joke was bad. That's even worse, right?
Like, no, I think the matches would be fire. I think that would be great.
I think so too. So I'm yeah. Why don't we mend some bridges? Why don't we make a moment? If anyone's out there that would be interested in putting me over.
Wow. Wow. If anyone's interested in putting him over.